Welcome to Everything Co-op, bringing you information on how cooperatives can help improve your quality of life. This show is being sponsored by the National Cooperative Bank, NCB. The NCB is dedicated to strengthening communities nationwide for the delivery of banking and financial services for the nation's cooperatives, their members, and other socially responsible organizations. For more information on the power of community ownership, visit ncb.coop. That's ncb.coop. Now stay tuned for your host, Vernon Oakes.
Good morning, everybody. This is Vernon Oakes, and the program is Everything Co-op. This morning, I have the excitement to having two great guests on, Alison Powers from the Capital Impact Partners and Mary Alex Blanton from the National Cooperative Bank. Good morning, ladies.
Morning. Morning, Vernon.
And so this morning, we're going to talk about the Co-op Innovation Awards. So let's jump right into it, Alison. What is this Co-op Innovation Award, and how did it get started?
Thanks so much, Vernon. The Co-op Innovation Award started in, we did our first award in 2015, so it's been about 11 years that we've been managing the award. And it was really, as we grew as an organization and found ourselves lending to larger co-ops and not necessarily having the ability to do some of the, smaller, scrappier deals, but we saw the ecosystem growing. We saw a lot of excitement, and we really wanted a way to support some of the startups that needed grants and not loans, and that, we knew that there was so much excitement around the model and change, and we really wanted to support co-ops that were utilizing the model to foster economic opportunity and address issues facing their community. And we also knew that there was a lot of innovation out there, but the innovative models sometimes were hard to get funded because they were untested. So we wanted to be that kind of validator, that first person in the door for those co-ops or co-op support organizations that had ideas that might be replicated locally, regionally, or nationally in the future, and that we could be not just a funder, but a partner in their journey and help, whether it's, having them on a panel or a podcast or introducing them to other funders, that we could really provide catalytic capital that would attract others to their projects and be some of the first people in the door. So that was kind of the genesis of it, and it's obviously grown since then with our partnership with NCB and sponsored by other folks in the ecosystem.
Okay, so Alison, what I got from what you just said was Capital Impact Partners were making loans, and they can't make loans to these new startups. They are very innovative. They may solve the problem, but they can't make loans. So you all decided to help them out by giving them grants and telling other people about what they're doing. So let's go all the way back to, what does Capital Impact Partners do?
It's a great question. So Capital Impact Partners is a community development financial institution, or CDFI. We actually started as part of the National Cooperative Bank back in the day. So we have deep co-op roots, and we've kind of split off to become CDFI, and serve a host of other sectors. But we like to say that co-ops are part of our DNA, or are, kind of in our bloodstream. Since then, we've evolved a lot. We're now part of the Momentous Capital family under our executive director, Alice Carr. And we partnered with another organization called CDC Small Business Finance. So between the two organizations, we can, make a $10 million real estate transaction, but also do small business lending. And CDC Small Business Finance is one of the largest SBA lenders in the country. So we just have a capacity to kind of have a lot of different types of products that can serve both small businesses and different types of projects in co-ops, housing, education, healthcare, food, housing, and so on. And as kind of a conglomeration of momentous capital family, we've delivered $24 billion in the past 4 years and served over 13,500 businesses. So it's really exciting. We're at a period of growth right now, really helping to build communities and small businesses by providing access to capital and opportunities. And I'll just briefly talk about our co-op work, because as I said, we've always done co-ops, and we really focus on worker housing and food co-ops. And the reason co-ops align with our strategy is we think a lot about asset building, creating quality jobs, democratic control, community ownership, leadership development, probably some of the, same reasons so many of us love co-ops is kind of why we've seen the impact that they've had on the communities that we've worked with. And we do work nationally, although we are headquartered in the DMV. And we have, provided loans over $20 million of loans.
To co-ops?
Excuse me. Wait, I'm mixing up my stats. For co-ops, we have done over $300 million in loans, and our focus on food is really around food access, and our focus on worker co-ops is really thinking about businesses that are selling their business to their owners, also called kind of worker co-op conversions, and we see that as an amazing opportunity and have done a handful of those transactions. And we also have always been in the housing space, namely, limited equity housing co-ops, mostly in New York and DC, but also working a lot with Rock USA and manufactured housing co-ops across the country. So we're really looking at, where our love of co-ops meets the CDFI mission and kind of where that intersects.
So real quick, can you tell people, if there's somebody out there listening that would like to get a loan, a grant, or knowledge? It sounds like you also help the people, small businesses that you work with. How would they reach out to you guys? How can they find you?
Yeah, technical assistance is really built in and part of the community development financial institution model. CDFIs are not only thinking about the capital and the loans, they're also thinking about, what are the other needs in terms of maybe a program that could help people get loan ready, or do these folks need other types of capital, like the Co-op Innovation Award, where we realized they needed grants. They didn't necessarily need loans in the phase that they're in, or just, kind of helping people connect with government dollars, whether they're new markets tax credits or other programs, or raising money from foundations that could help make the project more affordable. So we're really thinking, as a mission focused community lender, really thinking about the whole needs of the community and the project and not just the financing.
How can somebody reach Capital Impact Partners?
So you can, we have our website is capitalimpact.org, O-R-G. You could also reach out to me or any of my colleagues to kind of see where you might fit in. We have, in terms of co-ops, we have, we have grants, as we're going to talk about today. We have loans, and we also have an investment tool for existing co-ops. So there are lots of different options that we've created to kind of meet people where they're at and, kind of react and pivot to the needs of the community and not be prescriptive.
How can they reach you?
By email,
Okay.
Powers, APOWERS at capitalimpact.org, O-R-G.
Powers at capitalimpact.org. So you all were birthed from the National Cooperative Bank. You came out of National Cooperative Bank.
Yes.
So let's go to Mary Alex. And Mary Alex, can you talk about what NCB does, what's its function, and then we'll go into how you birthed this organization?
Well, National Cooperative Bank was founded in 1978 by an act of Congress, really to help housing cooperatives and commercial co-ops nationwide get access to capital. At that time, there was a gap. The agricultural co-ops had the way to access capital, and the electric co-ops did, but there was this sector of America's cooperatives that needed financing, and so we were created. We privatized in 81, and we are a cooperative ourselves. We are owned by almost 3,500 of our cooperative business customers that have banked with NCB, so we are a cooperative. And we provide full-service banking solutions nationwide to cooperatives, their members, but also other socially responsible organizations. So, we expanded, who we provide banking services to, really that align with the co-op principles. So while housing cooperatives, are our main focus that we provide capital to and their, share loan members, but we do a lot with renewable energy. We do a lot with community health clinics. Like Alison said, we work a lot with affordable housing solutions. We bank a lot of ACE hardware retailers for our co-ops, grocery retailers, not only food co-ops, but those independent grocers that are members of cooperative wholesalers. We support their needs. So we're in many sectors that align with the co-op principles, and we serve all across the United States. And when the bank was founded, it was the Office of Self-Help to help, access to capital and for low-income families, for just co-op development. And so that's how it was founded from NCB Development Corporation. It was changed its name from the Office of Self-Help to NCB Development Corporation, and then Capital Impact Partners. So that's kind of the evolution, but we've always been aligned in what we do and what we serve for the co-op model.
Self-help is the first value. Self-help, and the second is self-responsibility. Okay, correct. Self-help. So then co-op Capital Impact Partners spin off. They went away and they do their own thing. How did you get back involved with this Innovation Award?
So they created the CDFI, but we've always still been aligned, and we've had board representation within Capital Impact Partners. We became part of the Co-op Innovation Award in 2019 because, similar to what Alison said before, as a regulated financial institution, we make loans, we give, grant dollars, but it's hard to do those small startup co-op loans. Like it's they're small dollar, they're kind of potentially more risky. And so it's important for us and NCB's mission for co-op development, and partnering with Capital Impact Partners and the Co-op Innovation Award is just an awesome opportunity to see how this grant funding can help these co-ops grow and incubate and replicate. And we've seen some great examples over the years of how they've grown and replicated. So it's NCB's mission to support co-op development, whether it's big or small. And so we've been proud to partner with Capital Impact Partners since 2019 on this award.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, Mary Alex, you said you do a housing in DC and Maryland. Likewise, how can people, if they're looking at doing a co-op housing, or there's a conversion, the landlord is selling their building, they're renters and they're selling their business and they're using TOPA, Tenant Occupancy Opportunity to Purchase Program, how can they find NCB? How do they reach out and find NCB?
Sure. Our website is ncb.coop. So they can contact us that way. We can put them in touch with one of our co-op housing specialists for that.
Okay. So it's capitalimpact.org or ncb.coop. Okay, Alison, what is the Co-op Innovation Award? What's its mission?
Yes, the mission of the award is to grow co-ops and co-op support organizations which are utilizing the cooperative model to foster economic opportunity and address issues facing their community. And by community, we mean that pretty extensively. It could be urban, it could be rural. Yeah, so that's what we're trying to do. And I would love to share some of our successes and our impact since the start of the award, because I think it's pretty great what these co-ops have accomplished over the past 10 years or 11 plus years. We have had 35 grantees, and we have deployed $1.23 million, and that money has been used to secure more than $15.2 million. So
Wait, I need to understand
given
that.
out 1.2,
Okay.
and that has leveraged 15.2.
Okay, so you all help with sort of the initial funding. You said that these are organizations that are not big enough or perhaps too risky to get a loan. So you'll give them a grant so they can get started. So they get the grant, they get started, they prove the concept, and then they can go out and get loans. It could be NCB
Exactly.
or anybody else.
You know, depending on their needs, they can get other grants, they can get loans, they can, you know, sometimes they're going to our co-op CDFI partners like Shared Capital or Leaf or others, but we kind of, you know, track them in the year after the reporting. And one of the things that we ask is, you know, what other funding have you raised? And so we really, you know, again, it's kind of the proof of concept of that first money in being catalytic to raise more and being a validator. And so we're really proud of that, because that's, you know, $15.2 million is just a lot of money in the ecosystem. And so we've, you know, picked some really great co-ops over the years, and we've also seen a good track record of replication, of working with local and state governments, of reaching, I think the number is over 2,000 community members through training and development. So there's a lot, you know, we see the seeds over the years, and I think some of the, you know, the most rewarding thing has been seeing folks grow and change, and you know, seeing people over the years, and it's just, yeah, it's been fantastic. So we're really, you know, proud of the accomplishments of the folks that we've supported, and also just the growth in the ecosystem in general has been amazing to watch, because we have seen kind of the changes in the types of applications that we've gotten over the years.
Okay, so I would really like to hear some of the success stories of these 35 different grants in 11 years?
Mm-hmm.
So can you name one, and then either you or Mary Alex tell us about that particular co-op?
Sure. I can give a few different examples. One that is very early, but I think is interesting, is that, you know, in the early stages this is back in 2016, we funded the Democracy at Work Institute, or DAWI, which is it's kind of the partner organization to the U.S. Federation of Worker Co-ops, and it was when it was just starting. And I think DAWI at that time had maybe two employees, and now it's grown into this robust organization. But we funded them to start the Workers to Owners Collaborative. And this is a collaborative of national organizations that work on employee ownership, and they share tools and practices and innovation and aggregate data. And, you know, we are a member. We've been a member of this for, you know, almost 10 years. And so, you know, in the kind of early days of the award, we were seeding some of the backbone structures of, you know, different co-op sectors and ecosystems. And then we've seen this kind of growth over the years in the applications and what's being funded. And I can give you an example from last year. So this is 2024. We gave a grant to Red Emma's Cooperative Corporation which Red Emma's for, a lot of people who are listening to this podcast might know them. They are a worker co-op in Baltimore that has been around for 20 years. They're very successful. And in 2024, we were getting a lot of applications from restaurants because, as we all know, restaurants, were hit very hard during the pandemic, and a lot of them, there has been an uptick of cooperative restaurants being formed, and they were all trying to figure out the same issues. And, we're getting a lot of applicants just thinking about, how do we hire? This is such a low margin business. How do we make it fair? A lot of people who felt really excluded from the restaurant industry and wanted to form their own, inclusive space. And so we got this application from Red Emma's, and they wanted to do the first ever, restaurant worker co-op convening in Baltimore, and bring all folks together from all over the country and really solve some of the issues of the sector. And so we thought that was really exciting. We don't usually fund kind of events, but we felt like it was completely grassroots. It was worker co-ops speaking with other worker co-ops, and it happened last summer in Baltimore, and it was an amazing event. It was really valuable, and folks got a lot of great insights and lessons learned, and really were able to share that out with the community, and kind of came away with the feeling of being a part of a national movement to transform the food service sector. And so, you kind of see both of these examples are kind of growth in the ecosystem that we're trying to support and encourage. And, we've seen, like with the Dowie example, we've seen the fruits of that bear out over the years. And, we still are a part of that collaborative, and it's been an amazing place to grow in the field.
Mary Alex, why do you do this work?
Vernon, you probably know I've been at the bank almost, it's over 26 years, almost 27 years. And, providing, grants and loans to support organizations that really have a mission and have kind of a passion is important, right? And so, while yes, we can, lend to cooperatives, and we have great stories, the mission of the bank and in what we do, but providing kind of this innovation award and $50,000 is a lot of money for a startup, or to, prove a concept and to try to replicate. And just to hear the stories that can come out of it, it's very rewarding. And we love, telling these stories to our employees, to our customers, because it does make a difference. When people say, "Oh, you work at a bank," it's like, it's a different kind of bank. So it's really rewarding. It's part of the mission of the bank. It's by most of us, stay in NCB, is because we provide these, unique opportunities for new co-op development. And it's very rewarding. And so that's what you'll hear from, people that work at NCB, especially given it's co-op month, right? And it's also International Year of the Co-op. So spreading just not only, larger co-ops, but these new startup co-ops. It's important for people to see how the co-op model can impact, and not just in the big sectors, how it can work in small organizations, and can, kind of work in every industry. So.
And when you were asking that, you brighten up. Yes.
We had our co-op snack day yesterday at NCB, so it was,
Alison, the same question. Why are you in this work, and what do you get out of it at the personal level?
Yeah. So I was fresh out of graduate school in my 20s, and I didn't really know anything about co-ops, and I got hired by the Urban Homesteading Assistance Board, UHAB, in New York City. And I was interested in housing, affordable housing. I knew that, but then I was able to learn about, the cooperative advantage, and I was able to, I ran the member services program. And so we were really working with people who lived in the co-ops in over 1,000 buildings and creating programs for them. And I was really able to see firsthand how having stable democratic housing impacted people's lives, stabilized their costs, enabled them to build assets to send their kids to college. It just really contributed to an intergenerational wealth that I saw and I experienced, and I was kind of hooked. And then Capital Impact was actually a lender for some of our, affordable cooperative housing buildings on the Lower East Side in Manhattan. And so I got to know Capital Impact as a lender. And when I moved from New York to DC, kind of got to know Terry Simonette, who was the executive director at the time, and got hired here to kind of figure out our cooperative strategy. And then I got to learn about worker and food co-ops, which was opened a whole new door and a whole new window and understanding to me. So I think that I've seen it firsthand. I've seen the impact. I think if you do, then you're sold, you're hooked. And the Co-op Innovation Award has been my baby. It's just, I've been here for 11 years, and just about as long as the award has been in existence, and it's grown and it's changed and it's different every year, and I learned so much from doing it. And so it's always really a highlight of the year for me personally. So yeah.
So both of you are excited about your work. So you don't wake up in the morning going, oh, I got to go to work. You get up in the morning and go, yes, let's go solve some community problem, help somebody solve a community problem. Is that sort of the space you're in about your job, about your work?
Yeah. No, it's exciting. I mean, it's just, people who are in this space are just great people. And it feels like when we get to see each other, it's like seeing friends, and seeing these grantees over the years change and grow. It's similar. It's like you feel like we're not a funder, we're a partner. We're, part of the same mission and building towards the same outcomes. So it's just that sense of community that I think we all get from being in this space. That's really special.
And Mary Alex, NCB has won the 105 great organizations that work in Washington, D.C.
Yeah. In both the Washington Post and through national, top workplaces. Yes, we're very proud of that. We've won that many years in a row. And again, it's all through employee, comments and surveys. So the award is, based on employees, what they feel, why they work at NCB. And like Alison said, we work with very unique customers on, in whether it's in, renewable energy or healthcare or affordable housing or, grocery and hardware store and Ace Hardware. Everything touches the local community. And so it's really great to tell their stories. What I do at the bank and is marketing and communications. So I get to, tell the story, our customer story, and how, we help them. So I think working for an organization with a mission, and that it's niche focused, and that we really care about our customers and our employees, that's why we get rated so highly as a top workplace.
And that's why you're excited when you come to work. Now, we're going to take a break. We've talked about the organizations and award. When we get back, we'll talk about the awards that you're doing this year. We'll be right back. Please thank us. Welcome back, everybody. This is Vernon Oaks, and the program is Everything Co-op. We have Alison Powers from the Capital Impact Partners on today, and Mary Alex from National Cooperative Bank. And ladies, we've been on the air now for 12 years, just 1 year longer than your Co-op Innovation Awards. And NCB has been our main financial partner and just partner in general, just like you talk about partnering. They've helped us to understand other sectors. They've been our main cheerleader, pushing us forward. And it's been an exciting partner. And NCB's mission is to support and be an advocate for America's cooperatives and their members, especially in low-income communities, by providing innovative financial and related services. So I'd like to shout out NCB because of what they have done and their previous executive director, Chuck Snyder, was a great, great friend and very, very supportive of this and the Innovation Award and all the kinds of things that happens in the co-op space. So in Alison, Mary Alex, that's how I met you, was in sort of setting this whole program up 12 years ago. And we were only going to do it for 1 month. That was co-op month.
Co-op month, yeah.
I like doing it and people like it being done. So we have just done it for 12 years. And we have a great team with Pat Thornton was there with us when the idea popped up, and she's our producer. Justin Franks is our IT person, and Rob out in Pasadena helps us with the marketing. So that's our core team, and it's a great team. And likewise, it's just fun getting together. I like it when work can be fun. You see how you can accomplish things. So one co-op I found from this, when we would talk about people that have won the awards, was Shy Fresh out of Chicago, and they've been on the line. And well, who would like to talk about Shy Fresh first?
Yeah, I can talk about them.
Okay.
They're one of our most exciting grantees and a big memory, a professional memory for me personally. We got this application from them in 2019, and they had this vision of, launching a commercial kitchen that was owned and really determined by formerly incarcerated women in Chicago. And they wanted to offer, freshly cooked meals that were, kind of rooted in the community and honor the tradition of the people being served and also just be healthy and delicious. And we just thought it was really innovative, and the folks that were working on it were amazing. And they were just thinking about the whole food value chain and kind of like where you're getting your food, supporting local farms, how to get food kind of out to a community that had limited access to grocery and other food retail. And so I remember this so well because we got the application in 2019, and then the pandemic happened right around the time we were awarding the awards this was March 2020, April 2022, everything, it just happened. And so it just happened that of the group of women that was organizing the co-op, a few had lost their jobs due to the pandemic. And they were going to do more of a slow build and kind of launch the co-op in the fall. But we called them and we told them they got the grant. They got $50,000. And I remember they were cheering and crying. And we were all, it was just like, I wish I had recorded it for myself, because it was just one of the best moments in a dark time of this, like, kind of trying to understand what we were all going through with the pandemic. And so they decided to just go all in and launch the co-op in the spring instead of the fall. And they really seized the moment, because it was at a time when, as we all know, there was no food on the shelves, and we're all trying to understand the systems of the food chain and delivery. And they really leaned into it. And they ended up getting some great contracts with the city to deliver food, and really just were up and running and innovating and successful in a period of time where we didn't really think was possible. And they have really exceeded all expectations and ended up buying a building for their commercial kitchen to be in permanently. They got a loan from our partner, Shared Capital Cooperative, and I believe also the Chicago Community Trust. And they also expanded into a cafe. They were able to include more people in their co-op, and since then have evolved. They've, launched housing cooperative and are looking at a childcare cooperative. So they seized on a moment and also created a movement. And I think they're one of the anchors for co-ops being really growing and being really excited in the whole Chicago area. So yeah, we're really proud that we really were that first dollar that allowed those women to just, launch and be amazing. And so that's a great memory for.
I would just want to add a couple of things. There were 5 women. They were African American.
Mm-hmm.
They were previously in the injustice system. They were been incarcerated. Normally, incarcerated people cannot find a job, or they find very low-paying jobs, non-rewarding kinds of jobs, and they created their own jobs by owning the worker co-op. And that's one of the things I like about co-ops and worker co-ops particularly, is that anybody out there, you can get together in a group, and 5 seems to be a nice number, but it could be 3 or 4 people or 2 that could form a co-op, and then you own the business, you own your labor. And when and if there's a profit, you own that profit. And in this case, they built out their kitchen, they bought the building, and then they formed a housing co-op because that's a huge need for incarcerated people. It's a huge need for people in poverty or low income is housing, and then housing close to the job, so transportation is not a huge issue. And then childcare. Transportation, housing, childcare are the normal reasons that people can't get jobs and keep jobs. And they solved it all by forming their own business. That's a fascinating story. I get excited about it every time and any time. And I heard Kim at the U.S. Federation of Worker Co-ops in Chicago, I think it was. She was the president of this Chai Fresh. She got up and her first statement was, I didn't think that I could own a car, let alone a business. Okay. And she just captured everybody with that first statement. So yeah, this is very exciting work, and I can see why you like getting up in the morning and going to work to do these kinds of things. So now I want to talk about the recipients of the Co-op Award this year. And Mary Alex, why don't you tell us one of the 5? You had 5 awards this year. Now, before we do that, how many applications did you get this year? Approximate.
We got 83.
83. And is that normal?
No, it's high. And the quality was also very high, not just the number.
So it made it.
It was a 38% increase from 2024.
Wow. You had 33 applications, which was 38% higher than the year before. And the grant is from, I've heard 50,000, but it ranges from what to what? What can people get?
10 to 50,000.
Okay. Mary Alex, how many sponsored dollars did you all get this year?
So this year we actually had the most sponsor dollars. We had over $200,000. I think it was $207,000. NCB and Capital Impact provide $50,000 each. We also, this year, CoBank came in to do a large sponsorship, also at $50,000. It was a grant. And then other sponsors include National Co-op Grocers, Ford & Palikas, Gallagher, LLP, Loeb & Loeb, and Velocity Consulting, which are actually kind of vendors in the co-op space. So it was really, great that they were able to contribute to this Co-op Innovation Award.
So you had more applicants, 38% more than the year before, and then you had more money to give.
Sponsor dollars,
which is great. Okay. So now let's talk about, Mary Alex, would you choose one of the 5 that you all gave grants to and tell us about it?
I guess the first one was Nashville Equitable Housing Cooperative, which got a $50,000 grant. And this is an organization that was formed to help kind of create limited equity housing co-ops in Nashville, Tennessee, or just the Tennessee area, which, they did not have any housing co-ops in Tennessee. actually National Cooperative Bank worked with organization to provide a bridge loan to create the first limited equity housing co-op this past year. It was a 60-unit limited equity housing co-op called the Cottages at Drake's Creek. So they were able to purchase the property, do capital repairs of the property, and it will be converted into a limited equity housing co-op. So their grant for $50,000 will help them create kind of a co-op playbook of, laws, regulations, how to make this work in Tennessee. We know housing co-op, the main focus, the main area for housing co-op is New York. New York has the most housing co-ops across the country, DC, and, other urban markets, whether it's Chicago or Boston, Florida, California. But there are really very few housing co-ops kind of in that South. There's some in Atlanta, but really nowhere else. So providing limited equity housing co-ops is great for affordable housing in these areas. So that's going to be exciting for them to see how they can replicate and create more limited equity housing co-ops in Tennessee.
So the 50 it was to create housing co-ops
Kind of a
throughout. Playbook.
Kind of a playbook to be able to then say, okay, this is how it works. And then just other organizations can then potentially use that playbook to go create, housing co-ops. We see that a lot. It's I have this idea, I want to create a housing co-op. What do I need to do? And there is stuff out there. NCB and Capital Impact have we kind of created a manual for doing this, but every state's a little different, right? So this will be specific to Tennessee.
Fantastic. And then you $4 million to purchase a 60-unit property and fix it up.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. And now, Alison, first, Mary Alex, did you by any chance happen to go to Nashville to look at that property?
I did not, unfortunately.
Oh, I would like to do that. I like Nashville, and then a housing co-op would be awesome. Alison, would you tell us about another of the 5?
Sure. I'll talk about the U.S. Federation of Worker Cooperatives, and so new SFCW received $30,000. They're the only national member organization focused on worker co-ops and advancing economic opportunities through the model. And they wrote an amazing proposal about working with labor unions to launch the Win-Win Childcare Initiative. They're piloting a scalable model that's going to deliver quality care, quality jobs, and replicable path for leveraging union assets towards economic development for childcare workers. So we really see these partnerships in effect. We know that the care industry has been growing a lot in worker co-ops over the years, both childcare and senior care. And so we really were impressed with the partnerships they had made and thinking about ways to leverage the advantages of both co-ops and unions to create something new, but where growing and scaling was built into the model from the start. And so we're really excited. I mean, we know that USFWC, that's always a hard acronym for me, has great staff, and that we're just excited to see what they're going to do in the next year or two.
Well, U.S. Federation of Worker Co-ops, they've been on Esteban Kelly on the show, and they are as excited about the work they do because they also work with Shy Fresh and others. But when you talk about the excitement I saw in your faces, Mary Alex and Alison, when I talk about your work and see the excitement, they share that excitement. The Federation of Worker Co-ops. Okay, so that is interesting that labor unions and hooking them up with childcare is awesome, because a lot of the reasons that there's so many co-ops in New York is because the unions' pension money went in, particularly Co-op City, the pension monies went in to create the affordable housing. Okay, so that's a great partnership to get the union and their both money and impact. Okay, let's talk about the third one, Mary Alex.
Okay. Yep. Third one was the Farm Generations Cooperative. And they also received $50,000. And they formed like a farmer-owned marketing platform for to connect small farms to the communities. So they're going to use this grant to kind of expand this marketing platform. So the I think website's called Grown By, and basically you can go on Grown By, you can type in your zip code, and local farms will pop up and what you can purchase from those local farms. And so their marketing platform is connecting those farms in the community. So the farms will become members of that marketing co-op. So it's really to expand that.
So Grown By received $50,000 to increase their software, increase their marketing. What are they intended to do?
So I think to go kind of expand their reach to connect with more farms nationwide.
And so their web page is grownby.com.
Yes.
And I just Googled Grown By and I got that up. And you can put your
Zip code.
Zip
you can
code.
Put your location.
Okay. And you can find the farms that you can go buy products and what products you can get from those farms. Wow, that is exciting because I've always wanted to know that.
Vernon, you'll have to let us know what you purchase. There you go.
So I just did that from my zip code in D.C., and there's a 1-acre farm, Dickerson, Maryland, a Martin's Ponderosa farm in Pinhook, Virginia. Okay. Oh, that is exciting because I like fresh food, and normally you get it at the farmers markets and the food co-ops. Okay, so that's the farm, and that's $50,000. So right now you're giving grants of $130,000 to 3 of these co-ops. Or okay, what's the next one? Alison?
So the next one is Prospera Community Development, and Prospera is an organization that's been around and they've been successful for a long time in California. Their mission is to partner with entrepreneurs to launch businesses and worker co-ops that foster cooperation, economic independence in their communities. And we gave them $35,000 to for kind of the expansion of Comunidades Prosperas. This is a program that they launched recently, which is a Spanish language series of courses about cooperative entrepreneurship and financial training and collective leadership. And I think, over the years, they've realized that there's a lot of other organizations, particularly Spanish-speaking organizations or folks that are serving those communities that really were curious about co-ops and wanted to learn more, but they didn't really have the tools. So the whole idea around this program was to help kind of, create a course series and a training model that could be replicated and spread through organizations that already have the deep trust and connections and are rooted in their communities. And so this grant is kind of bringing this program to scale by creating outreach materials and enabling them to connect with new strategic partnerships with organizations, namely in California, but there can, be possibility for national expansion. So again, this was, a long-standing kind of co-op support organization that had this, common sense idea of, we can't be everywhere, but we can train the trainers that are in other places and already have these relationships.
And they got $35,000 to help their reach.
Yes.
Okay.
Do
you have any sense of how many co-ops they mentor, or they help to get started, or help to grow, or give technical support to?
That's a great question, Vernon. I don't have that number off the top of my head, but I know that they're they have a very robust track record in California, and that was one of the things that we were most impressed about with their organization. Is, really, this was a new program, but we really understand that they can deliver on it.
And they're out of Oakland. Yeah, Oakland could use a lot of help.
Yes.
All of California. Okay, we have one more. Which one of you would take it?
I can take the last one. This is FCTL. I'm not going to attempt the name with my high school Spanish and embarrass myself, but they are a housing co-op in Los Angeles, California. They're a nonprofit community land trust dedicated to preserving affordable housing, and they are a tenant association that is building East Los Angeles's first housing co-op. So they have a community land trust, and then you can build a housing co-op on top of trust, which is has been done, but it is a innovative way of kind of merging these two models to foster long-term economic stability. And I think one of the things that it was a great application. We were interested in this for a lot of reasons, but one of the largest ones was this year, Los Angeles has pledged actually the biggest investment in affordable housing ever. They created a new tax that is creating a pool of $387 million to create housing in LA. And there's actually an earmark of this specifically for alternative forms of housing, including limited equity co-ops. And so, actually the organization that I used to work for, UHAB, is also, now working with some organizations in Los Angeles. And this is really seen as a pretty amazing opportunity for growth in both affordable housing at large and also cooperative housing. And so the fact that you had this kind of innovative community land trust and affordable housing co-op that is being created and is so deeply rooted in their community and the Boyle Heights neighborhood, where it's being launched, felt like an exciting proof of concept at a time in Los Angeles where there's going to be this unique opportunity.
And how much did they get in the grant?
They received $40,000.
And that's your $205,000. 50, 50, 30, 35, and 40. If I had it right, that's $205,000. And that's what you had to give. Okay. Phenomenal. But I want to go back to this FCTL model of a limited equity housing, CLT, Community Land Trust, with a limited equity housing co-op. Here in the district, my experience as I was doing property management was that 40 or 50 years go by relatively quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and if they have an affordable housing co-op and they have a 40-year loan with HUD, if their bylaws and articles of incorporation don't say that they must remain a limited equity housing co-ops, and I've had several of them do this, they would end up selling out or forming a condo and then selling out.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to try to fight it until I decided in a co-op, the members make the decisions that's best for the members. And quite frankly, financially, that was best for the current members. It wasn't best for future members. So hooking the community land trust where they own the land with the affordable housing is a way of making it more permanently affordable. So that model seems to work. Because just the limited equity housing co-ops does not make it. And I've seen examples where members will sell out, take the money and run. Okay.
Yeah, I saw a lot of that in New York as well.
Yes. So what's in the future, particularly with the current market? How do you see the future of co-op and your innovation award?
I'll just say it briefly and then hand it over to Mary Alex. I mean, in my mind, the fact that we got a record number of applications and you know, co-ops are needed more than ever now, and this grant is needed more than ever now, as people are struggling and kind of locked out as the means of the mainstream economy. We always see growth in co-ops kind of through the history of this country. And so, you know, we expect that the same thing is happening now. And, you know, we're committed to continue this award, and we would love it if some of our co-op ecosystem partners would join us to sponsor so we can grow this pot of money and, you know, grant even more dollars in 2026.
Well,
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we, you know, going into this, it was like, you know, oh, we want to grow the amount of dollars because we knew with the applications and just the market that we're in, kind of everyone's looking for money. So it was great that we had the most dollars to give this year, and that it was just great that we had the most applicants, and not only just applicants, the quality of applicants, that, you know, we wish we could fund more, but, you know, we're always looking for sponsors. So if anyone would like to sponsor for next year, we're happy to discuss it. But no, I mean, I think, as Alison said, you know, we had 5 great recipients, and then over the, you know, last 12 years, there've just been so many successful co-op organizations receive the Innovation Award and grow and expand and continue, you know, what they do in their communities. So we're committed to continuing, you know, sponsoring the Co-op Innovation Award and look forward to the next year.
so you awarded 5, you had 83. That means that 78 could not get awarded, and the average was a $40,000 award. If they all got awarded, you would have $3.1 more million. 3.1. Everybody out there, we're finished up for the day, so we'll see you next Thursday. Please live cooperative.